Welcome to the 1890s in Marengo. This is a period of time when there was a great deal of growth. At this time, Marengo was a town of 2,000 people, and it was growing steadily.
Some of the new arrivals were like Annie South, who was a servant girl who came from Iowa and started working for the Patrick family. Her job was she was housekeeper, and she was the only live-in hired help. The Patricks also hired us to work for them, especially when they had dinner parties. We would come in just as serving girls. I'm Laura. I'm the washerwoman, and I would come in once a week to do all of the laundry for the Patrick family. I'm John. I'm the hired man, and I would work every day for the Patrick family. I worked with their horses, as well as like when the grandchildren would come in, I would go down to the station and I would pick them up. When the Patricks had a dinner party, it was quite the event, and it would be something that would take all day in preparation. The dinner party would go from 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock. When it was over, the servants' day wasn't. They continued on working often until midnight, cleaning up everything and polishing the silver, polishing everything else up. Richard Montgomery Patrick, who was the patriarch of the Patrick family, was probably one of the most powerful and influential men in Marengo. He was a banker, he was also one of the mayors at one time, and he basically ran the town. Up in the attic shows what life was like when all the grandchildren would descend upon the Patrick household. They would have cots set up there, they would actually sleep up there, and they would play. They would do everything from looking through stereopticons, and they would see what life was like all over the world. They would also have time for playing dress-up and playing all sorts of games. You've already met Richard Montgomery Patrick, who has a very huge house in order to accommodate all of his children and grandchildren. This is another mover and shaker, Neville Wolleben. His first name was his last name spelled backwards, which is a perfect palindrome. He was in the dry goods business. This is Edward Shurtleff, a very powerful lawyer in town who was one of the movers and shakers, who was, like all of the other gentlemen that you are meeting, were part of the Marengo Syndicate, which was the group that was responsible for bringing the Collins and Berge stove factory to Marengo, and a lot of new residents. This is Dr. John Green. He was the most beloved physician in Marengo. He was not only the first physician. When it was time for him to retire, his patients wouldn't let him. I'm Frank W. Patrick, and I'm cousin to R. M. Patrick. I'm in the general merchandise business, which I had started with him originally. This is Dr. Webb's office, situated right above the bank. You'll be able to see how they had to use a foot-powered drill in order to work on your teeth. Bicycle fever struck everybody in the 1890s. This will be your opportunity to get on a replica of a penny-farthing high-wheel bicycle. R. M. Patrick was responsible for building the Opera House at a cost of $30,000. The Opera House in Marengo was so popular that people came out from Chicago to visit the Opera House and see different productions. People who came out from Chicago were able to come on a special train that had a dining car, so they would be able to eat their meal and then be ready to go in for their performance. Hamlin Garland, a writer, said about the Columbian exhibition of 1893, "Sell the cook stove if necessary, but come to the fair." And come they did. People came from all over the world. 1 out of every 4 Americans, including those from McHenry County, came. McHenry County had a corn exhibit in the Illinois building. The most popular exhibit was a 264-foot Ferris wheel, which cost 50 cents, half a day's wage. Marengo was a delightful city of a population of 2,000, only 2 hours' ride from Chicago. Marengo had over 30 stores, one of which was Mrs. Thayer's millinery shop. A real estate boom, which was created by the Collins and Berge factory, adding more people to the town, made Marengo the 3rd largest city in McHenry County.